Radiant team pick.
Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to an iLeague presentation of the American qualifiers here, Complexity Gaming versus Team EHUG. This is the second game of the Best of 3 series, and I'm proud to be able to bring it to you guys here on Beyond the Summit. I myself am Blaze, and today I am joined by Vykromond. Let's get into Game 2, the draft, and what we can see from EHUG to try to respond to a really rough start in Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, Game 1... a pretty big outdraft. I think just looking at the team lineups, you'd be like, Complexity probably had no less than like a 65% chance to win. But I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, I think it's actually pretty good to get outdrafted in a Game 1 because it's so easy to fix compared to some other things. Like, sometimes you play Game 1 and a team just craps on you. Like, you don't have any vision, you can't get any kills, you lose every lane, and you're just like, well, this is unfixable. Like, sure, we're done. But like, outdrafting, you just draft better. It's fine. So
if you have to lose Game 1, the best factor that you have to worry about would be definitely the draft. I completely agree with that. But sometimes it's a difficult situation to salvage. The team just has clearly a lot of different styles and a lot of different ways to play the game. Like right here, the Batrider got banned down in Phase 1. Now we get to actually see that Complexity is going to be able to pick it up for themselves. So MJW still won't have it, but we're most likely going to be seeing it in the hands of either Simba or Riser, and we've seen what they can do in the offlane, especially playing around the trees. Firefly is still a tool that can manage that. Not in the same capacity. You do burn a trail behind you, but yeah, it's just it's a strong hero, and it's going to be difficult to pin down. So EHUG, they go for a lot more control this time around. Lion, Storm Spirit, these are heroes that can get in and lock somebody down and get the kill quickly. So I'm excited to see them kind of put a better foot forward, not so much towards push, but towards actually emphasizing the hero kills.
Yeah, I mean, definitely hard to tell from just Lion and Storm Spirit, two very strong generic heroes, what they're going for. Okay, Night Stalker. All right, so EHUG, I think they felt a little bit of a vision problem Game 1, which they definitely had. Brood was able to generate tons of vision across EHUG's Radiant jungle. They weren't able to keep wards going. Obviously, they were playing against a Zeus. They're playing against the Zeus again. Against the Zeus, you can't count on your wards staying up because you can de-ward them with Lightning Bolt and auto attacks. So, Night Stalker, who does not need wards to see half of the map once it gets Aghanim Scepter, is a good option to sort of take that back. And good vision and Storm Spirit are a match made in heaven. If you can make vision for Storm Spirit around the map, he can generate kills a lot easier and be safer.
Yeah, but do you think he's actually going to get the farm that he needs to at the right time? Like, most of the time, I think nowadays we see kind of a 4-position Night Stalker. Lion is also kind of a support that could really benefit from some farm for the earlier Blink Dagger.
Probably offlane for Night Stalker.
Offlane Night Stalker. We'll see. I mean, I think Night Stalker is kind of the best in the mid and the support situation. What do you think is really good about offlane Night Stalker?
I don't think it's insanely amazing or anything. I just think that's what they're going to do. Like, okay. I mean, he's a hero with good base damage, good base stats. He's not actually that easy to kill. And offlane gives him more levels than a 4-position support does. Also, but on the other hand, you're right, they could run the 4-position Night Stalker. So a couple teams are running it like for their three role players. Some teams run it for their 4. Lion NS is decent roam. Especially once obviously you hit nighttime, so it's definitely an option. I think it's okay, but Zeus is not an amazing zoning pressure support, and they're probably just going to use the Zeus support again, which is why I said maybe they'll run the NS there.
Yeah, the one thing that I really like about Zeus support here in particular is how important scouting is going to be for the side of Complexity. I mean, you already talked about how he's going to be able to kill the vision of Team EHUG with some good lightning bolts, but also just whenever you feel threatened by potentially Storm and Night Stalker making the jump, you pop that Thunder God's Wrath, and even if your vision is reduced down to 675 from the darkness, it's still going to be you perfectly fine to farm safely, spread things out a little bit, and But Batrider likes to creep cut and stuff like that, so, I mean, you definitely want to be able to play more offensively even at nighttime.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And Zeus generates those opportunities for Batrider as well. It's the same idea as both teams have these sort of similar ideas of the more supportive character making space for their sort of initiator. So on one hand, you have Night Stalker is going to be rushing Aghanim Scepter, running around, making space for the Storm Spirit and giving him vision. Zeus can do the same thing for Batrider. He pops the ultimate and you see somebody and immediately initiate on them. So they also have this even bigger initiation potential with the Spirit Breaker. So I don't know. I don't think this really tilts that much either way yet. Juggernaut, obviously a strong hero. Just solid, good heroes for both teams.
Yeah. I like Spearbreaker in general, but in this draft, it seems like he might have some trouble actually finding those charge lockdowns, those tower dives. He's going to be up against the Lion with his quick hacks. The Void can also interrupt a charge perfectly fine.
Yeah,
the Vortex less often, but it's still possible, I guess. Either way, it's going to be difficult to follow through on this hero in terms of diving, and in terms of him getting the early levels. Like if if they're taking the Batrider to the off lane, then we're going to be seeing the Spearbreaker play kind of that 4 position while the Zeus plays the 5. And in that sense, they're really going to be kill hungry. Like, you can't just sit back in jungle. If the Team EHUG is able to get the ward on the pull, then suddenly Zeus and Spearbreaker have no really good way of getting into this game.
That's true. If EHUG really controls positioning and vision, then it won't be the easiest thing for complexity. But on the other hand, Ancient Apparition, not really a very mobile support. He's not really going to be able to exert too much pressure until he's level 6. I mean, the Zeus and Spearbreaker are probably just going to be doing a crap ton of stacking early, right? So
Sure.
Once they have four stacks in every camp and Batrider comes and cleans it all up, Bat will have a free blink, and Zeus and Spearbreaker will probably have a couple of free levels each if they just hang around. So
Okay.
I think for EHUG, usually with Night Stalker these days, you don't expect too much from the first night. It's like the second night when he's higher level to be able to do something. But this might be a game where if the Lion is doing well and they have a pretty safe lane, the Lion and Night Stalker might want to do some roaming in the first night to disrupt the jungle, help the Storm clear out some stacks, things like that.
Definitely. So another nice thing about Complexity's draft is the fact that they can go ahead and put their cores into the jungle pretty early on. You already mentioned the Batrider, but Juggernaut with Mask of Madness too can really emphasize just taking 2 or 3 camps on the eastern side of the jungle and leave Zeus to take the lane itself. So Spearbreaker can stay up top for a few levels, Zeus can go down bottom for a few levels, and in the end they're going to rise as a team. They're going to have hit that experience threshold where everybody's getting to their level 6, and that's where Zeus and Spearbreaker really come alive. Like Spearbreaker needs level 2 to have any impact, but he really benefits from 6 to kind of double his kill potential.
Yeah, but they might reduce the level dependency of their supports at this point by just running Zeus mid, because now that you see the Ancient Apparition and not a hyper-aggressive roamer hero to pair up with the Lion, you might be safe enough to just run the Zeus mid and maybe be okay. And I think that's what EHUG thinks too, because they just banned Venge, which indicates that they probably think the Zeus might be running a core role.
Yeah, I think flexibility is important in this context. They are going to go for a Shadow Shaman, and that does imply most likely a support in this sense. I've actually been seeing a lot more boots first Shadow Shaman than anything else.
Yeah.
You play like a 5-position Spearbreaker, a 4-position Shadow Shaman, he'll be able to get in for the Hex, the Shackles, and get that control, but Team EHUG offlaner selected, it would seem that, I mean, they could go for the safe lane Void, and then Night Stalker would take the offlane as you implied, and with Corey picking it up, that seems to be how they're going to run it. So Night Stalker
I think that's the right call.
In the offlane against most likely a boots first TLK Shadow Shaman. Do you think he's going to get much experience here?
What a loaded question.
I just call it as I see it, dude.
Yeah, Rasta. I think the pick of the Shadow Shaman is definitely very smart to pressure the Night Stalker. That's one of the few heroes that's really going to actually really bedevil. You put the Rasta basically ahead of the creep wave, just consistently pressure the NS. If he's able to shackle him, then Juggernaut runs up, you take an early crit. Yeah, it could be a really hard lane. They could even, honestly, it wouldn't be the worst thing. They might even, EHUG might dual lane. It might not be the worst thing to 2-on-2 here.
So jumping back over to the end game here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's get it underway. Game 2 of this best of 3 here for Complexity versus EHUG. Again, this is my second time back at play-by-play, so you guys have any feedback, throw it in the chat, throw a message or tweet, whatever you may do, because I certainly need it. It's like riding a bike, but at this bike, its training wheels are falling off quickly, and I'm trying to keep my head above the ground. But yeah, we'll see some early movement here. EHUG, before we get any chance for introductions, they're looking for that early aggressive war. They can block off the pull, make at least Zeus waste some lightning bolts down towards the bottom lane, and that in of itself is ideal. They've got the chilling touch. They're very confident moving forward here, but EHUG or Complexity are looking to contest it.
Yeah, this could actually be a major fight if both teams go for it. I definitely favor EHUG if it comes to a 5v5 or a 4v5. Just Firefly's really good, but he's already actually used it, so it's not going to be available for this fight. Zeus is pretty garbage. Rasta's okay. Jug's pretty good. Spearbreaker is not very good. On the other hand, all these heroes have a lot of play at level 1, but it looks like they're going to back off. It didn't even plant a ward, which I find very interesting.
Yeah, looking for an opportunity. Maybe just covering up that bottom boundary rune is the key objective here, or faking a ward so the Zeus wastes some lightning bolts. In either case, Siegfried, like you said, used the Firefly, cleared out the trees for easy stacking on the side of Complexity, and yeah, the boundary rune bottom goes to Storm, boundary rune top goes to Siegfried's Batrider. So it is Riser on that Spearbreaker, and we're going to be seeing him prioritize just kind of pulling, stacking, maybe a little bit of roaming, but probably not until level 2.
Yeah, I think he's just going to mostly stack, like you said.
So Swindle Melons is going to be here on your Zeus. Going to be starting off with just a Clarity and focusing on that early bottle here. So we'll be seeing him go up against the Storm. Meanwhile, up top, Z-Freak, your boots, Batrider are going to be zoned back by the Lion for the most part, but he'll find some opportunities to get the experience, and just level 2, level 3, he'll be going back to the jungle as he's set up his team for some pretty easy stacks. So we've got Riser, Spirit Breaker, leaving TLK, Shadow Shaman, and ZZY on the bottom lane Juggernaut.
I really like the TLK nick for him.
It's the best movie
more than
all time.
Whoa, that's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement, but it's true. If you've seen that movie as a kid and you haven't watched it as an adult, you better go, as soon as this cast is over, pop that into your VCR or whatever the heck to watch that old movie.
Right. All right, I'll get my VCR out.
Yeah, exactly.
Solely for that purpose.
But it's too good.
All right, looking towards EHUG on the dire side here. So they have but Kawaii Complex, who I have been trying to figure out who it is, but hopefully somebody will explain to me whose fake nick this is later. So far I know that it's not Mason. But anyway, he's playing the Night Stalker offlane like we talked about. Not having the easiest time, but it's not so bad yet. He has been able to get up to level 2.5. Middle, it's going to be Infinity. Last game he played Storm Spirit. This game, what's wrong with me? Shadow Fiend. This game he's Storm Spirit.
There you go.
Took a couple tries. And then supporting is Pandago. This time he's on Ancient Apparition. MJW is going to be playing Lion.
Night Stalker's actually going down here on bottom lane. They're just able to connect with the Shackles, charge into Shackles, and the spin. Getting that boots up, getting that kill on the Night Stalker. He is a day walker when it comes to this first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I think maybe... Then again, I don't even know if a second person down here would help him that much, but you were right. I mean, the boots for Shadow Shaman makes life really, really hellish for this Night Stalker. Oh, on the other hand, Batrider is getting harassed a bit, but Z-Freak I think is okay.
Stay in the trees. Should be alright, even against the haste rune here. Just one stack of Sticky Napalm makes it very difficult for MJW to maneuver. But it is going to be Z-Freak sending him on a run here. Trying to go for the TP. MJW with the cancel. No Hex! He goes for an auto attack, not a Hex. The reaction wasn't there, and Batrider will escape. He didn't, however, TP the tier 1 top tower. He does TP all the way back to Fountain, so full mana and health, but going to be out of experience range for a little bit longer.
The vision in that area I mean, just in general in those trees is really weird, so I think maybe he broke vision or something and wasn't able to immediately hex, which is too bad. A kill would have been very nice for them, considering First Blood is already on bottom for Complexity, but...
So, we're going to be seeing Storm pretty quickly move towards level 6 there. Who do you think is going to be... Which side do you think is going to be more active come level 6? Zeus is going to obviously have a global damage output, but Storm's got that jump. Do you think they have like the tools to follow through with like Lion and Storm Spirit jumping on somebody?
I think Dire... EHUG are probably going to want to start generating pressure for sure. I think you're going to see them ganking and Complexity possibly counter-ganking with Zeus. Because Shadow Shaman, I mean, he's not going to be roaming and generating opportunities, but he's very good at ruining other people's opportunities. So they're going to be trying to counter-gank until Batrider has Blink Dagger.
Bottom lane pushed out pretty heavily here. They have to get the kill on the Night Stalker, or he's going to be getting some precious experience. He's already going to be hitting level 4 for sure, but moving quicker and quicker towards level 5. So... that's a pretty big deal for him, as the Batrider is actually only sitting not even at level 4. Stacks non-existent for him either.
There's only one. There's one stack here, but other than that, they didn't do any stacking. And after he cut those trees down for them too.
Exactly. Those will grow back, and it'll just be wasted mana, precious. But nevertheless, yeah, we've got your Batrider trying to bounce back a little bit with a Mud Golem spawn too. Like some of the weakest stacking I've seen for a Batrider that rotates back at the 4-minute mark, but. That does leave Swindle Melons to pop an Invis rune, look at mid, and say that's probably not going to happen. They'll try to charge him to prevent him from getting level 6, but you have to have everything work out perfectly if you're going to get a Storm.
It's way too late to try to do that. You would need the Spearbreaker to have gone already and be probably level 2 or a little earlier too. So yeah, actually Complexity is not really dominating this laning phase as much as they did the previous one, I think, which is very good for EHUG. because they need to get to the mid game intact and then dominate the mid game. Especially Void needs to be amazing this game, because if he doesn't do super well, I could see him having very low impact. If Rasta just plants wards outside the Chrono, if he doesn't get caught in it, Zeus can global into it. Could be really rough.
So I was just noting that Corey was sitting up top there. He had 1,000 gold and just the brown boots and absolutely no opposition. So could have opted for the Midas, instead goes for the treads. Do you think he just wants to get more involved with Mask of Madness treads as quickly as possible so they can maintain the early control?
Yeah, I think Midas will be really iffy, because you're up against probably... They don't know that there are no stacks. I mean, there's stacks now. The Bat Rider is going to get a pretty fast Blink Dagger. It's really chancy to go for the Midas and then not have it pan out. I don't know. I don't think this is the game for it.
Yeah, quite complex and gets done out here, but a nice Spike only hitting on just the Spirit Breaker here. Spin keeps going, Ether Shock connects, but in the end, the Night Stalker will be able to get out of there. Does have some good armor right now, 6 armor, obviously plenty of strength, and then the movement speed was sufficient. So good rotation, sufficient rotation from the Lion, and yeah, he's at nighttime at least for the moment.
Yeah, I think it's great that they kept the Night Stalker alive. He's managing to get a few levels. It's also really important. But here comes another... Really?
Nope.
Okay, now he backs off.
Thought the rune might be ideal, but the Lion just being there and ready to interrupt or cause some real grief could be problematic. He's got just the 2 points in Earth Spike, the 1 point in Hex, but with a Magic Stick between him and the Night Stalker, it's very difficult to engage into the river like that.
Sea Freak just gonna get some free XP up here, keep leveling, keep getting some farm, make Corey's life a little more annoying. And meanwhile, Pandago's just, doing his job pulling, but he is obviously... He's the 5 roll support. He's level 2. Ancient Apparition, I mean, he's a pretty greedy guy. He wants to get levels. He wants to get level 6 as soon as possible. Frequently, you see a sort of Midas Ags item progression. Unless you're Tralf, then you just go Ags. I mean, they're going to have to find a way to get this guy into the game eventually. That's another reason why I think it's more important for Void to just have a solid, good build where he can generate space, because in some respect, Void is going to have to make space for other people too.
Yeah, early on, EHUG is clearly investing a lot of their supports movements into getting their cores online. The Storm Spirit here is level 7, has a pretty good setup here with just Soul Ring and the Null Talisman, and is going to be clearing out this jungle here for a lot of early cash. But beyond that, he has Regen Rune too, so just, really efficient farming here. But beyond that, you've got your Night Stalker, who was saved thanks to the Lion's rotation, and the Faceless Void, who's had an uncontested thing. So the cores are looking really good. The supports, they have to have some ground to cover to get back into this. But overall, because the Bat Rider doesn't have a crazy fast blink timing, I actually think that they're pretty happy with the state of the game.
He's going to probably cancel this. No, he won't. Wow, okay.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's canceled one way or another. That Hex comes out pretty quickly, and yeah, that is... one dead Spirit Breaker. Riser goes in, tries to make something big happen, but yeah, it's just not sufficient. The Spirit Breaker is only level 3. Like, in the best case Bash scenario, maybe.
That was really bold. That's the kind of situation in which, like, the Spirit Breaker, your orange player just goes like team, and then the Zeus just stares at him. But the free kill on Pandago, yeah.
Yeah, not too bad. Just the Zeus being such a high level gets quick burst, and now he's got his Soul Ring, Bottle, Arcanes, everything he needs. Just keep the spells rolling. So
that was pretty free. Like, there was no way that AA was gonna even possibly survive if he went for a rune.
Yeah, I mean, it was 432 damage, so literally just 2 quick spells. He went in, he died. Yeah, Night Stalker, Omni Slash, got cut out by Ether Shock as well. So I mean, in range, but you just gotta have to expect some solo kill potential with these cores building up so quickly. Juggernaut's gonna have his Mask of Madness, and the Void should have his shortly too. Yeah, it's not on the courier yet, so he did go for Ring of Aquila, and that does kind of keep his build strong as far as survivability, but it eliminates his potential to kill with the Chrono.
Yeah, but it does give him the ability to... Actually, I don't know if it does. The main thing is it lets him solo push this tower without needing to rotate his supports over. Because it's not like AA is going to rotate over and help you push the tower. Like, that's a complete waste of everybody's time. So, yeah, these supports are so squishy, and they have such low HP, and they keep getting caught and hit with things. So while Infinity is farming, the Lion and AA are just kind of getting beaten up by the Zeus. So moving the Zeus to mid, I think, was a really good call. Swindle's been able to really take control of the game.
Mm-hmm. Since I see that some people are asking it here, the score is currently 1-0 in favor of Complexity in this best of 3. Obviously, we don't have it listed up top there, but yeah, that's the current status. So Complexity, they are just one game away from taking this, but EHUG, I mean, they're looking pretty good in this early game, despite the kill deficit. Like, yeah, the kills are looking pretty good for Complexity, but I still don't think the Spirit Breaker is going to be too involved in the subsequent fights.
The Spirit Breaker's job is really maybe to just land like 1 charge's worth of damage on the supports so that they can kill them quickly. I mean, I agree with you, Blaze, that the Spirit Breaker isn't the most impactful thing, but what about the Ancient Apparition? Like, he's having next to no impact, too.
With a Chronosphere setup, all he needs is to get level 6, and he's still going to be doing some decent damage. I would have to say that he's probably going to be on point for 6 faster, and it's still going to be pretty easy. Like, how much damage they already have, I think that he'll be able to, if not nab a kill and get the experience for it, at least assist in the fights and keep farming on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely needs 6. He needs to stop getting... The problem is he needs to find 6 while not really ever being in vision. Like, because if he is in vision, he's going to get charged by a Spirit Breaker and killed by a Zeus. But as long as he's very, very careful, and I would have maybe used the AA to poach XP from the Storm Spirit while he was farming the, like, 6 stack here.
Sure.
But I get why they didn't do it. They wanted Frankie to be farther ahead. He's level 8, so that's pretty good.
Big action coming out here from top lane. We got double smoke, we've got the Blink Dagger online, and pretty much all cooldowns you'd want for this kind of play. So they're going on the Void here, they will connect, and with an Omni Slash, it should be a clean kill. The Bash, they just clean him up. And now it's going to be the Storm Spirit jumping in, zip zap, in and out, exhausting his entire mana pool, and getting absolutely nothing in return.
I don't think he even did damage.
Yeah, just painful. He did not at all, not a single drop. And yeah, that's a critical kill on the Faceless Void, who... just now picking up his Mask Menace, he'll be able to do something offensive soon, but it definitely is a key kill for Complexity to keep their experience momentum rolling.
I totally agree. It's a huge kill for Complexity. Now you have your Zeus almost up to his level 2 ultimate. You're getting to the point at which you just have so much ambient damage. Like, your team just does so much damage that a Void who's going to be using a Mask of Madness could just get popped so quickly that he's not able to make much of an impact in many of the fights unless he's very, very careful. So, I don't know, EHUGs, it's going to be very, very rough. They really have to find good opportunities with the Void, with the Ancient Apparition once he hits level 6.
Yeah.
If they don't, then I don't know.
Combo up the Healing Ward as well as the Mass Serpent Ward to take down the Tier 1 tower, despite the fortification. They're going to be doing that pretty much every other minute. They can clear this out pretty easily, and Ice Blast and Chronosphere are the things you have to be worried about. Ice Blast not yet online, and maybe delayed even further as the Lightning Bolt. Look at the damage! They don't even need a charge. They just go ahead, commit the ultimate, and yeah, this Thunder God is indeed wrathful.
I mean, they just picked these really squishy supports. I don't know about the Ancient Apparition, honestly. It definitely made the early game so hard.
Yeah.
Like, imagine that was a Venge instead of them banning the Venge. Like, wouldn't the early game just be so easy? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe not.
He definitely doesn't react to situations very well. Like, you have to be making the play to be really able to capitalize on the Ancient Apparition's potential rather than the play being made against you and you trying to turn it around. So, maybe if the Chilling Touch set them up for a level 1 First Blood, great. Otherwise,
yeah, but they didn't even like overforce that fight. I think they actually maybe could have. Like, yeah, just spam Chilling Touch and run at them. Just walk at them and hit them with your buttons. I don't know.
But they have the Chronosphere now. They will be looking to use it if anybody defends bottom, most likely. As it is, it's just Lion and Night Stalker roaming through with smoke. If the smoke dissipates, they still could use the darkness and keep on the hunt. Zeus probably seems to be the easiest pick, and he's actually a pretty fat pinata here, as he's been using the Hand of Midas to build up his experience.
Oh, let's see how it goes.
Finger of Death is not going to be needed for the kill, as the Storm Spirit just jumps right on in, and yeah, that's a nice spread of experience for everybody here. Ancient Apparition obviously showed his hand as 6, but top lane, Mass Serpent Wards go down and another tower falls. Between the Zeus and the Tier 1 tower, which do you think is going to give more presence come like the next several minutes as map control becomes so much important?
Well, it's not... In absolute terms, it's not the most amazing trade, but in relative terms, EHUG needed that kill. Okay. They needed to get XP on those supports, they needed to get the Storm a kill, they needed to get the Zeus off the board, even briefly.
Oh, nice Hex coming out. It's going to be hard to bring down Corey now. Needs to go for the Chronosphere, has Mask of Madness, but will just use the right clicks to finish it off. Now goes back into the bubble, jumping out, but the charge persists.
Uh-oh.
No disables. Corey gonna go down, and they are gonna just try to follow through onto TLK here. Thunder God's Wrath comes across, hexed up Storm Spirit, another bash coming through from Riser. He finishes off the Ancient Apparition, and the Storm has no choice but to zip-zap out. They have just such great chase potential, and they're gonna go further. Going in for the Night Stalker, he is gonna be too far. Far away. He will be able to escape, but even still, the Chain of Initiation broke down a bit for the Bat Rider, and it still turns out to be a pretty good fight for Complexity.
You know, honestly, I think even that is kind of worth free hug. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're already so behind that that's actually not that bad of a fight, because at least you got the Void. Oh, he only got 1 assist? I thought first, didn't they kill Bat and Jug? Well, at least he was in the AoE when they killed both Bat and Jug, so yeah. Void was level 8 or something, or 9. Now he's level 11, tied with the Zeus. And your Void needs to get levels and farm this game. So, yeah, it sucks that he died. It really, really, really sucks that he died to a Spirit Breaker that nobody could disable. But I think overall it's still actually worthwhile for EHUG. I don't know.
I can understand the logic behind it. It's not like a clear-cut trade by the metrics, but by the circumstances, I could definitely see the value in it. We do have another lasso available. Z-Freak might just go to harass Corey with this one, but yeah, just a blink and a time walk out. It's really just more of a nuisance than anything.
Yeah, it's because 2 things. A 10-second cooldown on Thunder Gods, and Void wasn't farming with Mask of Madness. So actually, usually Voids that are just hanging out will always turn the Mask of Madness on just to clear faster. But you can see Corey, now that he knows that there's all this initiation and this incredible damage that Bat Rider with Lasso and then Zeus ult can do, now he's not farming with the Mask unless he knows he's like 100% safe.
Yep, we're going to be seeing another cancel charge, another tier 1 fall. Seems to be Complexity's game plan for now, but Aghanim Scepter going to be coming out very quickly for the Zeus. No, Bloodstone. Yeah, he will go with the Soul Ring and the Point Booster. Could have gone either way, but he actually goes for the Bloodstone here. You're talking about the merits that we saw for the Bloodstone on the Storm Spirit. We're probably going to see that once again. How do you feel about it on Zeus? Any differently?
I feel great. It's definitely a more unusual choice to go Bloodstone first, but I mean, Swindle Melons is destroying, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he is kicking ass. This is a 16-minute Bloodstone Midas Zeus. Like, no, I think I'm all for it. I think this is great. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of value in it, and he's just, I mean, going to be, even if he goes down early in the fight, still healing up his team, coming back into it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
keep him ball rolling.
Yeah, exactly. And does he even need Ags? Like, he's already nearly one-shotting people with the ult. Like, yeah, he'll get Ags eventually, but I think the Bloodstone does more for him right now.
Yeah, definitely possible. I mean, yeah, it is at least half of people's HP. Pandago feeling pretty sorry for himself right now, and yeah, every time you go for the Bat Rider play, you pull somebody out of position. There's like 2 heroes that survive. Everybody else just gets killed because the Zeus does that much damage, and he'll be racking up some charges. But they're gonna go for a smoke play. Z-Freak leading it against Kawaii Complex. They already have Radiant Vision, and they will go for the lasso. No misclick here. Pulled up onto the cliff, and a couple more spells to fly out to finish him off.
Yeah, the problem is that the Night Stalker is under level, under farm. He only has
going for more?
No,
MJW will TP back.
They will clear out a ward though. And the Night Stalker's really amazing vision. Like, I mean, it's a map hack, but it's not cheap. You need 4,200 gold just for the Aghanim Scepter. And Zeus, on the other hand, is very cheap vision. You push one button, the APM cam lights up, and suddenly you see everybody.
Well, we do see ZYZZY going for the solo Roche with that Mask of Madness, clearing out pretty easily thanks to the healing ward. Did see a very low HP Ancient Apparition, but doesn't even bother. He wants to focus on the big boss man. Will bring it down, getting the Aegis here at 18 minutes. And, yeah, still could go for a free pickoff if he wanted to, but the bigger things are at hand. Faceless Void, gonna be able to clear out the Tier 1 tower bottom thanks to Mask of Madness, and a lot of Blink Daggers coming out, 1 for each side.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Shadow Shaman one is really critical. I think it'll give him amazing counter-initiation capability for Fly this game. Fly has played 2 really solid games, I think. He was a good support Zeus last game. And the roster, I think the pick was very strong for the Shadow Shaman, and I think his play of it has been validated as well. I mean, decent vision for EHUG over the Radiant jungle, but they still don't feel confident farming it, and it's actually getting dewarded. Whereas the Dire jungle is completely locked down by 3 wards from Complexity. And they, again, for the second game in a row, they're ruling the vision.
Yep. And just kind of spreading coverage right here. They've kind of using the buddy system a little bit right now. EHUG, they say nobody's safe to farm alone. We'll stick together, have one person behind each core hero farming, and It seems to be safe strategy for now, even though they're farming under the vision of complexity. But I can see this Lion Blink being almost as impactful as the Shadow Shamans. I mean, sure, you're not going for a ward trap or anything, but you're going to be able to keep the Void alive against a Bat Rider jump. You're going to be able to break a Spirit Breaker charge. A lot of key aspects of positioning for MJW.
Yeah.
Then we do get to see a little bit of farm coming out from the side of EHUG as the passivity reigns. So assuming Z-Freak doesn't find this pick off here, might go for the dive, and it looks like they got vision on Night Stalker, and I think they can break this. Yeah, there's a flame break. Very nicely done.
Brutal.
2 times over that TP is canceled, and that's another nice kill on the Night Stalker right when he popped Darkness.
Yeah, use Darkness, so he's not going to get much of the benefit of that Darkness at all. I mean, in fact, he's going to get next to no benefit out of it, because they now do not really need vision, because they're just going to mass up the middle and the top, and put a set of Serpent Wards down on this tower. So yeah, I agree. The Lion Blink is great, but it's very, very good, and I do think Lion is both a good pick here, and Complexity didn't really put many counter picks on it, so the Lion could be high impact, but their cores are really struggling. The Void is struggling to just do much as a pick, and the Night Stalker is struggling because he's been getting killed repeatedly. Yeah, Storm Spirit has Bloodstone completed now, but he didn't even beat the Zeus to it, and the Zeus went a Midas in between.
Yeah, I guess that's a very telling statistic there, but you know, we do see some damage coming down bottom, some farm coming out for the Faceless Void. He's obviously in farm mode with the Maelstrom Mask of Madness, and if he doesn't go down here, which I don't think he will, then they're okay. They actually get the jump. Riser, a lot of HP to work with, but the Ice Blast takes a tenth of that away. So, nice combo. Swinamelons and Viz breaks down Pandago's HP very quickly. No turnaround for you. Mid lane seems to be just a Shadow Shaman Blink out, so it's just going to be that 1-for-1 plus a Spirit Breaker buyback.
Yeah, but who cares? Like you said, the Spirit Breaker is so almost incidental. I mean, he's really... honestly, one really cool thing that the Spirit Breaker does for them this game, and they've actually been using this a lot, is you start the charge just to maintain vision.
Yep.
Like, you're playing against a Night Stalker where your vision is crap for a really large portion of the game, because obviously he's casting Darkness in addition to nighttime being half the time by default. So you just put the Spirit Breaker charge on somebody for as long as you need the vision on them, and then just stop the charge.
Why don't you just go for a support bounty hunter? I don't know. It's just like, I like the utility out of it, but I'm not feeling the Spirit Breaker too much this game. In either case, they're doing great.
I think Spirit Breaker is just a far more epic hero than Bounty Hunter is.
Empowering Haste versus Track? I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take Empowering Haste.
It sounds cool, for sure.
All Empowering Haste needs is like a real animation, and for him to do a really loud bull noise when he casts it, and everybody would love it.
True. We got Z-Freak kind of pincered in here. Let's see the Blink of the Force, if it's going to be enough for him to disengage. Right now, the Observer Ward vision just gives him good understanding of anybody flanking from the east, but Storm Spirit's going to walk up here, and it could be them picking him off. No, they don't see him in the trees. It's actually going to be Thunder Gods to give Z-Freak the intel. So they cover the Tier 2 breakdown from ZYZZY, who still has that Aegis, and now they have vision on Storm. The charge is on a creep, but if this creep dies, they could transfer over to the Storm Spirit.
Yeah, he's actually in trouble, I think. Bat's really good against Storm. It's extremely hard as Storm Spirit to react to the Bat Rider jumping in and lassoing you. Yeah, in fact, I don't know. It's really, 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 really hard. So, no surprise that Infinity is brought down quickly there. And that's, I mean, at this point, EHUG is nearly out of this game. They would need an amazing Chronosphere.
Yeah, Night Stalker right now in a bad spot. The Chrono, no bounce back. He finally gets the Chrono, and the Ice Blast onto 2.
Yeah,
trying to burst somebody down, but there's no Finger of Death. There's just barely any damage. Now going in with the Omni Slash. Big damage on Night Stalker. Some good backtracks for the Void, but the Urn of Shadows should be enough to take him down in the end. We'll keep tabs on him while just jumping out. Infinity disengages. So, yeah, Corey lives with 55 HP. A couple of really good backtracks in that fight, but
yeah, for sure. Without those backtracks,
yeah, it's still them just trying to kind of reel from their losses after losing the Storm. They want forward momentum, but they just keep on being jumped on over and over again. And you said it before, the Night Stalker, he should be able to just have the vision for his entire team with this nighttime vision, but so far he's just in such a weak position in this game.
I mean, he's not even level 2 Darkness to reduce the cooldown of the nighttime.
Yeah, but we do see...
Oh, nice kill.
They are able to get the pick. MJW Blink hexing the Ice Blast, and that was actually just full intuition. They figured that he'd be farming out somewhere in that direction. The Observer Ward doesn't give full information, but it does show that he didn't take that route to the west, that he didn't walk all the way back to his side of the river, and they punish it.
Yeah, and like it gives Lion like a level or even more than a level. I think, did it also give him gem, or did he already have? I think he already had a gem. So actually, Lion getting levels is really good. Lion's a very, very good level scaling support, and he's gone 2 levels of stats just to survive things like Omni Slashes this game, and obviously Zeus Ult. So the sooner he can get more levels so that he can compensate for those stats by leveling his skills more, the better. So I still, to me, honestly, the 2 key heroes here are not, at this point, are like the Lion has to generate amazing impales, sorry, I should say Earth Spikes, and be able to just deny people killing the Void, and the Void needs to be able to generate amazing Chronos. Without that, there's no hope whatsoever. I don't think Storm alone is going to get them back into this, and I think that we can pretty much write the Night Stalker off for 20 minutes until he gets that Aegis.
Yeah, Ancient Empress is kind of in a similar situation. Although he's contributing a baseline with his ultimate, like that Aghanim Scepter trajectory is far, far away. He's had the point booster for a long time, but that's where he's remained. Now we've got a 14,000 gold advantage, a 9k experience advantage for complexity, and that's after a couple of pickoffs from EHUG. So right now, it's definitely their game to lose. They are in a very aggressive position, and they can kind of just fall back, let the Juggernaut farm his Abyssal Blade, and then start pushing again. Wait for the next row cycle, and that's all that's really forcing their hand right now.
Yeah, I'd say for sure Complexity are under almost no pressure whatsoever. They know that they're out leveling, they're out farming, they have better map positioning, they have better vision, they have Boots of Travel Zeus who can go to wherever the bat is and blow people up, they have a Bat who's doing amazingly, who also, by the way, has Boots of Travel. I didn't even notice that before. I mean, they hold all the cards, and EHUG are once again, unfortunately, in the position that they were in Game 1 of hoping for a mistake. The one thing I would like to see from EHUG is, last game, they were in the position of hoping for a mistake, in a very similar position, and then they went for like a solo kill. They should not go for any solo kills. If they can find like a good like 2 or 3 kills, yeah, go for it, but don't overextend for a support the way they did last game.
Definitely. We'll also have to see if they get any good opportunities here. They just waited up the Thunder God's Wrath and smoked immediately after, but it's very common for teams that frequently use the Zeus ulti to scout to know that their vision is weakest right after they pop that cooldown. So they're playing it pretty reserved. Their only one that's extended is Spirit Breaker, and yeah, it seems to be that they're not really going to get anything other than a double damage room bottled up.
Wow. I actually thought they might go for another Roche sneak the way they did Game 1, which actually brought them back into the Game 1. But I think Roche is down. Anyway.
Yeah, it's still got about 30-40 seconds left on the timer there.
If that was up, that would be one thing. Maybe they could at least take that with that smoke.
Who Roches quickly for this team, though? Like,
nobody.
Night Stalker at nighttime is not too bad. But...
Well, once you're in the pit, Night Stalker is going to feel a little weird about popping Night mysteriously when everybody's off map.
I kind of think that the Darkness should be popped a little bit more often. Kind of play a little bit of mind game there. Like, when you see Darkness put in reserve so frequently... Well, you kind of look at it and say, okay, well, what? Like when Darkness is actually used, it means something. But if you just use it sporadically and randomly, like I would love to see it used right after Thunder God's Wrath every time, and that would just intimidate the hell out of you. Like Complexity have to farm very passively and stay close to one another, and that's just in of itself creates space.
I think that's a good point as far as it goes. The only thing is he only just now hit level 11, so
yeah, it's no spam.
When it's still a 3-minute cooldown, how can you even tell the difference between randomly using it and not randomly using it, because it only happens once every 3 minutes?
Yeah.
But yeah, now that it's once it's level 16, obviously you can freely use it, and once it's level 11, yeah, I think you're right to some extent. Well, in general, though, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
This item build from Swindle Melons, we were talking up the Midas, the
so epic.
Bloodstone, but now going in BOTs into Refresher Orb.
He's a true gamer.
This is a strong, confident deity that doesn't need no Blink Dagger. He just is going to avoid the Chronos, stay back, and ulti like crazy. We do see up top, there's going to be some damage coming out. Storm Spirit pretty low on mana. Ice Blast, going to see the Batrider, but not fast enough. So in the end, just another support pickoff, but at least a successful one.
At least it's free. That's the main thing. I mean, yeah, it would have been great to kill the Batrider, but even just they are far enough behind to the point where when they do get a kill, it gives them a pretty substantial amount of XP and gold. So Lion, I think, probably got another. Yeah, I mean, he got a half level off of that.
Darkness is up. You can see just the Radiant Vision is really stifled right now with the Gem of True Sight in EHUG's hands, as well as the Darkness active. Like, even going for this rune, Swindlemelon's just risking his life. He's got a ward there, but it doesn't give them that much valuable intel. Thankfully, they've got the aggressive vision of the charge. Couple people waiting for it. The BKB comes out, but it looks like Corey's going down anyways. Like, they get some good spells to connect, but he's going to pop the Chrono, and he's still going to get destroyed thanks to the Shadow Shaman coming in. So, yeah, ulti coming out. Ulti number 2, perhaps? No, that was actually the second ultimate.
That was the second one.
It is just going to be everybody just heading back to the fountain with a little bit of HP remaining. So, not seeing the full strength of that double ulti just yet from Swindle, but it's still a successful pickoff in the end.
Killing the Void is totally worth it. I mean, the thing
The
is,
refresher
Corey
is pretty big
tried to-
as far as cooldown. You still, I mean, that's 195 seconds. It's still worth it?
Yeah, because they also, with that usage, made sure that even if EHUG was trying to get a counter kill or two, that they would have to back off because they just took so much damage. So I think it's fine because he does a crap ton of damage even without the refresher.
No, I'm not questioning whether or not he was right to use it there. I definitely think he should have.
Oh.
But the engagement as a whole, if we just look in hindsight, they popped a BKB and a refresher orb. I could
They
say,
wanted more for sure, but
yeah. And from their position, I definitely think that that's a loss just because they should be getting more with those kinds of exchanges.
I'm saying it's definitely a loss. Like they could have done more, but they're not losing, like they're not winning any less for having done that.
Okay.
I guess is how I would put it.
But now we see some BKBs kind of progressing. Night Stalker going to be picking his up in 1,000 gold. Corey has his in 300, and yeah, I mean they have much more fight potential. The big damage dealer is going to be the Juggernaut once those BKBs are up. The Spirit Breaker can still be frustrating. The Master Wards do some good hits, but it's really on the Juggernaut to just counter those BKBs entirely, and that Abyssal Blade will put him there. But I don't know if he's really tanky enough and confident enough in himself with the Darkness active to actually buy out for that Abyssal. Either way, right now we see the Night Stalker almost going down, but it's actually going to be Riser that just pops the BKB in retreat here outside of the Shatter Threshold, and that is just 2 heroes barely getting out, or perhaps not, no TP.
Yeah, he has no TP, so Zeus, I mean, Thunder Gods is down at least. Let's hope an errant lightning bolt. Uh-oh. If he Fireflies, does he have Firefly? Not yet. Okay.
Not yet.
Night Stalker!
And he sees the bat too. Oh, it's so scary. But
Jaws theme music plays. Okay, yeah, he's done.
Oh, gonna get a jump onto Zefrig though, bringing him down pretty quickly. Geometry Sight hits the deck. They just bought that TLK, getting caught in the Chronosphere, and he goes down too. 2 kills, and the Geometry Sight. Oh boy, that's actually, if the comeback is real for EHUG, it begins now. Getting a 2,000 gold swing, 4,500 experience, and getting the second gem in their hands. They have now purchased only 1 gem. They have 2. Spirit Breaker trying to get some vengeance on Corey, but the backtracks, the BKB, you're not getting that kill. And as such, they're going to lose the map control quickly.
On the other hand, I mean, he did get the 10-second BKB out from Void for absolutely nothing. Like he gave wagered nothing. But you're completely right, Blaze. They got a gem that's huge, as you said. I mean, it lets them start taking vision back over in their own jungle, clear out some wards, get better positioning. They still have their own gem on MJW, who I think we highlighted earlier. I mean, he's having a great game. He's 4-2 and 6. He has a 4 staff and a blink dagger. This lion is very, 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 very important for them for counter initiation on the Bat Rider, all that good stuff. So. Yeah, actually a very critical fight for EHUG. They've managed to finally get a couple of kills. They don't lose much other than a Night Stalker, which who freaking cares?
He'd like for his life to be as valuable as it could be, but this game...
Has his urn ever had charges this game?
I think, don't they have a second one? No, that's the other team. Okay, the other team has been throwing out urn charges left and right. That's the Oprah of Urn of Shadows. But yeah, Kawaii Complex, 2 kills, 1 assist, and... just a sad day overall. The Shadows are not on his side this game.
I think, I don't know, I would have considered putting a second person down there, like one of the supports to help him out.
Or I kind of have to go back to the drafting the offlane Night Stalker. Like, I kind of like this new 4-position Night Stalker. Offlane, I still feel is a little too weak when you have so many better alternatives.
I think sometimes, I don't know, it depends. When you have a Storm Spirit like this, you want your Night Stalker to get the levels and the farm more in a 3-roll than a 4-roll, because the sooner you can get map hack, the better. On the flip side, yeah, his laning presence is... to call it laning presence is a euphemism.
There you go. We have, right now, for most of EHUG in their base, waiting for the next opportunity to strike. Maybe going to look for a Smoke to see soon. They have 1 in stock. And, yeah, they are just kind of grouping. They actually probably saw a smoke coming from the side of Complexity. So they'll Ice Blast out here in the pit, but it is going to be MJW picked off.
That's actually a super important pick off. They get the gem and they get the lion down. The lion is like the main counter initiation tool for me.
Oh, Corey wanted the Chronosphere. Now the BKB is wasted entirely. Riser could even go for the ultimate here. He does. Now they're striking back. And this is going to be really bad as he gets Abyssal and crit. Now he's got down. The Storm Spirit has to jump out if he even can, but no, the damage! Swindle refreshes his Lightning Bolt of all things to finish off the Storm before he can jump out, and suddenly 3 people get picked off. The Roche still goes completely in favor of Complexity, and their dreams die here. Like, it is...
No, for sure. That was EHUG, Practitioners of the Lost Art of Throwing from Behind. That was definitely a series of extremely unfortunate events.
And they knew about the smoke. They knew about the play there. They were so reserved and they were so in the dire base. They were like, okay, something bad is about to happen, but then they realized just at the wrong time that Roche is coming out. They got the vision, but not the right play. I think the huge thing is Complexity walking away from the Roche pit for a short time span to avoid the Chrono.
It was brilliant, actually. Really well played by Complexity, because they knew once the lion dies, the EHUG's probably going to feel desperate. Corey's probably going to try to do something desperate, which is exactly what he did. They baited. I mean, it was actually a really, really excellent bait by Complexity, and EHUG fell right into it. And then the Storm also gave a kill away, and you lose the 3 important heroes: the Lion, the Storm, and the Void. I mean, it's not like you lost an AA and you just gave away Roche. You gave away Roche and you lost all your core heroes that have to try to catch up. I mean, the Void is only really maintaining parity net worth-wise with the Bat Rider, and some of his net worth is tied up in this Mask of Madness that he actually can't use half the time. He can only use it when he lands an amazing Chrono.
Yeah, and we haven't really seen big Chronos from Corey, unfortunately. Like, he's popped off a couple, but like, it's low impact.
It's really, really hard because it's this thing where, like, to win this game, they need every Chrono to be amazing, and it's harder to land good Chronos when you know they have to be amazing. Like, there was this one time where, like, when they pulled him here, he was like, I have to get Bat and Zeus. He still didn't get the Zeus, and his Chrono was late, so, like, even the Bat had more time to hit him. So he's definitely feeling the pressure of having to land those amazing Chronos to make the game work.
So, right now, as it stands, we've got the Geometry side back in the hands of Z-Freak. He's looking to get the wards down, get vision back in their hands a little bit. That's the one point they've been weak this entire game. But TOK is actually stocking up Kawaii Complex. He's been trying to farm the BKB. He better buy the recipe here, as he's going to have a decent amount of time. They're going to be able to kill him for sure. But if he buys the BKB, it's still an okay loss. And there it is.
He buys out.
Oh, up top, ZZY walks right into MJW, gets destroyed! It is only the Aegis, but now the Abyssal on cooldown, can they get him a second time? No Vortex, no spin, just the disengage, but still an Aegis and a manageable Night Stalker death with the BKB purchased.
Yeah, actually an okay trade. Night Stalker, your least important hero for the Jug Aegis is pretty, they'll be happy with that. I mean, as happy as they can be under the circumstances.
Yes. So we see right now, obviously, Complexity want to close this one out quickly. They don't want to give EHUG the chance to bring this back. I don't feel the Aegis was too important to their game plan of breaking the high ground, but it still might give them pause. Do you think that they still go for the breach? Oh, it's going to be a pick-off. Swindle Melons going, Ghost Scepter against him, but now it's expired, and Corey destroys the Zeus. He doesn't get the chance to use his Bloodstone, and that is a dominating streak. Going the way of Storm, and a lot of AoE Gold Bounty going the way of the Faceless Void. 1280 for the Storm, 770 for the Void, and 2,000 experience apiece. Why not? That is huge kill. Yes, it's an instant respawn, nearly, with that Bloodstone. But the fact that he couldn't suicide due to lockdown just makes it a great engage for EHUG that puts them in a much better position to defend.
Yeah, I mean, it wipes out the gold loss and the golden XP loss that they had from dying in the Roche fight, which still sets them extremely behind relative to their opposite numbers on the Radiant, but it's still very, very important if you want to win this game as EHUG to take opportunities like that if they're offered to you. And you can sort of see how the lineup is supposed to work when you see stuff like that, but they're short an Aghanims on Night Stalker to really make those repeatable opportunities. They do have a good beat on where Swindle Melons is. So maybe if they could get him again, that would be
oh my god!
nice.
I think she should be able to get the suicide, but no, Thunder God's Wrath scouts it out. He knows where the threat is, and the Blink Pursuit is not fast enough. But charging through, Spirit Breaker Oh, did I get the cancel? Yes! Swindle's TP is canceled. Z-Freak's in the fight now. BKBs are popping out left and right, but Swindle will still be going down without popping the second ulti. Corey gets the Chronosphere onto Z-Freak. MJW burns to a crisp, but Z-Freak on the run. Now Omnislash going through, destroying everyone. Lion and Void down for the count. Storm Spirit can't get the zip away. Now they bring down their third, and they make all the kills worth it. They can go in for the bottom lane right here, right now. Even with a buyback, there's no chrono for 75.
So Storm, so the Jug comes in and Jug Omni slashes, and the Omni it's 2 times on Void and then 2 times on Storm. So it seems like it's going to stick to Storm if Void just walks north and Storm just walks like south. Storm zips west, and as he's zipping, the Omni transfers back to the Void and kills him, which was, I mean, that's just makes you mad about Dota if you're either Storm or Void, but that's what happened, and I think that's probably going to be at least a set of racks, probably two.
Definitely the racks, but they'll try to hold on. This is elimination here. This is a single elimination bracket, and this is already 1 loss for them in this best of 3. So a GG means they are not going to be going to China, and they don't want to put that message out without a fight. MJW blinking, forcing, catching. ZYZZY still as squishy as can be. Infinity does exhaust a lot of mana though in pursuit. Even with the BKB, he's got to be in retreat. Riser doesn't get the charge out. Now going to be picked off, but at what cost? We've lost bottom lane. We've lost the tier 3 mid. It's EHUG for the all-in down the middle lane. Chronosphere in 5.
Yeah, I mean the fact is that they did use the Void buyback for that. So even though they do get a kill on the Jug, which is great, I'm not downplaying it at all. But they need more than that to justify the Void buyback, really. But the game's not over. I mean, that was actually really, really huge. I don't know how much gold that gave them, but I'm guessing like at least 3 or 4k. So that means probably an item for Storm. Looks like he finished his Scythe from that, which is actually very, very important.
Good money, but I mean, following up with objectives is harsh. They have all these towers to chew through. Tier 1 will fall to Corey, putting him up to 2,100 gold. But what do you buy in this situation to put you back in the game? You're up against the Butterfly, so an MKB would be nice, but you're also just at a point where you're getting kited, you're up against Ethereal Blades. Like, I almost feel like a Diffusal is the item that you need, but it's not going to be a game-winning pick.
A Ganon Scepter.
There you go. But Z-Freak with the Orchid should die just to the Soul Burn. Yes, it will pop him off. Leaves a gem on the deck. TLK all alone, and he will be crushed as well. So double kill. Just all these casual pickups are actually bringing EHUG back from the brink. They really look out of this game, but every time Complexity lose a single hero, it's still a step up the ladder for EHUG.
Yeah, EHUG are playing this right. This is how you play from behind when in this patch, is you rotate around as tons of people and try to catch individual players. Because the more people you have when that individual player dies, when you pick them off, the more goodies for everybody.
Suddenly, Aghanim Scepter for the Ancient Apparition. He was level 10 2 minutes ago. He was still level 10 at the 40-minute mark, but here he is now level 12, has the Ags up, really willing to make an impact in this game.
Yeah. Turns out there's an Ancient Apparition in this game now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually really big. The fact is that's actually a very strong counter-pushing tool in addition to obviously synchronizing extremely well with the Faceless Void. So, yeah, Pandago is going to be able to... Not that he hasn't made an impact. I mean, he's landed his ults when Void lands good Chronos, so he's been doing fine, but... Let me take a look at Lion. How's Lion doing? Actually, Lion has all of a Yules and a point booster. So Lion, again, I keep going back to this guy, but this is a very important hero for them, and he's doing extremely well. He's gonna have an Ags probably by the time everything's done and dusted.
Yeah, very possible. But
and that's big.
We have to wait maybe 10 more minutes for that at the least. We're going to be slowing the game down a little bit here, waiting for the next Roche respawn, and it's actually going to be coming very shortly. The Storm Remnant should even catch its spawn, and that is actually really good for EHUG as far as that intel, but there's illusion in the pit for Complexity too, so both sides aware of how important this Cheese Roche is.
Yeah, for sure. Cheese. If EHUG could, by some miracle, get the Cheese Roche, then it would be a huge opportunity for them. Because without an Aegis, with an Aegis and a Cheese on the other team, EHUG is definitely just screwed. Like, you can't be both 25k gold down and have the other team have 2 1-ups on their team. But if they could somehow finagle that, it's not going to be easy. That'd be really important.
Well, right now, Vision doesn't show anything for the side of the Dire. Riser is smoked up, though. Might catch somebody soon. He knows the smoke pop, but he doesn't know where. And they're going to have to walk in blind. Whoa. Dire. No, there's the Firefly coming in. Where's the Sheepstick? They're only going to get the Chronosphere onto the Batrider. Not what you need in this situation, but they're still doing damage. They kill off the Shadow Shaman quick. Batrider's going to buy back. Juggernaut, though, cleaning things up without anything to control him. Gets the Abyssal Spin onto MJW. Storm jumps out. Oh, MJW is still alive. That point booster provides so much value until the Zeus tells you that you can't run from heaven, and the fight concludes in favor of Complexity. That Chronosphere had to be big, and all it caught was the Batrider.
It was small.
And it wasn't even like within melee range of the Batrider. He had to be I think the Flame Break took him up to the cliff, or maybe he time walked up there. In either case, it's a very small jump to get to a single hero that can just buy back. It needed to be big. It certainly was not. No, and down goes the Roche.
Yep, that's definitely a rough beat for EHUG. At least they kept Infinity alive. They actually, I believe, recovered their own gem. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I mean, you need it to win a fight. You need to land Chrono on like 3 or 4 and have the Ancient Apparitional hit all of them as well, and maybe the Lion Finger inside of that. MJW, I mean, he still did some work, but if you've got a Jug was basically exclusively focusing the supports in that fight.
So, I mean, in this position, it's going to be pretty much just Complexity looking to end it very shortly. I mean, they've got the Aghanim Scepter on the Mass Serpent Wards. That's level 16. So TOK can just walk up, drop it on the racks, and that it is going to be going down one way or another. Either EHUG puts too much focus into it, chronos it, whatever, along with a couple heroes, and tries to fight in that position, and they kill the wards, but then they lose the fight. Or if they put the focus into the heroes, then the wards do their job.
They've got these 2 extremely potent threats, and I don't think the Zeus has been dealt with at all. He's now at basically 6 items. He did get your Precious Blink eventually. He's also probably going to ditch the Midas sooner or later for maybe Ags, maybe Dig on 5. The thing about like these items like Blink is they cost a paltry, they cost a paltry 2250 when you could be spending 8,000 instead on Dig on.
True, it's true. Efficiency isn't really a problem for him at this stage in the game.
It's really not. He's got 27k.
Like, he's rocking 7 item slots. He'll probably sell the Midas shortly, or at least keep it on the courier while it's on cooldown. But yeah, it's not about efficiency any longer. And you got to question whether or not Complexity will, like, one of not the Zeus, but one of Complexity's members could buy a Veil Discord to amp that damage up a little bit. You're up against 3 BKB, so it's not the most valuable, but it's an interesting opportunity.
I like Veil. I'll support anybody who says you should build Veil more. Veil's a great item. I mean, obviously the Zeus simply doesn't have space for it, but you could have Shadow Shaman build a Veil for sure. I don't see anything wrong with that. As for EHUG, I mean, the struggle is still really real. I mean, Shadowblade BKB for Night Stalker is, at least Shadowblade makes him hard to see as he runs around doing nothing, but he's still not doing anything. Like, I think so maybe. Well, here's the other thing. He's had this BKB for a while, right? Like, he even finished it before getting ganked one time. But he hasn't actually used the BKB. So my question is, why not just have an Ags, and you still feed, but at least you provide that vision? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not even saying it's his fault. Like, it's a hard game for Night Stalker.
Yeah, it's just to contribute on the level that teamfight offlaners really do. You have to bring a lot to the table, and right now he's barely living long enough to get a few right clicks off. He's going to try to change that up a little bit with the Shadowblade initiation, but he's up against Gem, up against Zeus. It's not easy. He's actually walking the wrong way here. Going to be most likely a catch-up, but where? It's going to be actually on the Void. There is no response to Z-Freak's BKB, and Corey's taking lots of hits here. It's going to be the death of the Void without buyback. No Chrono, no win. MJW zapping on Swindlemelons, but he just laughs it off. You call that a laser? I'll show you some lasers. Dagon, refresher Dagon with the Ethereal Blade. Some thunder for you, and everybody just falls by the wayside. Complexity look to march in and finish this one off for good.
Yeah, Swindlemelon's definitely a great game from him, dominating with that Midas Zeus. But just in general, Complexity, I think, showed themselves off. This quarterfinal series is just a little bit more developed strategically. I think their drafts were better both games. Their idea about how to play the game and how to convert early leads was just a little stronger than EHUG today.
So, really solid play from them. Obviously, we'll have to see how they fare later on in the bracket. In the single elimination, they're going to be going up against the winner of Tongfu NA and Team Tinker. in the next few days. But for now, 2-0ing EHUG, it definitely shows them they have a lot of confidence behind them, and they've obviously shown some versatility too. The role swap seems to be working pretty well with Z-Freak taking the offlane, and just as a whole, as long as they can kind of shore up those random pickoffs that kept on occurring, which, like you pointed out, EHUG have a draft for that, so it's going to happen once in a while. But if they can minimize that, they definitely have the potential to push on forward through this bracket. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in here. This is going to be the conclusion of the broadcast here. I am happy to be able to bring you guys this game here on behalf of Beyond the Summit. This was the iLeague American Qualifier match. Complexity taken away 2-0. I myself was Blaze Casting, and I was joined, thankfully, by a good friend of mine, Vykromond. Thanks for coming on the broadcast. Great to hear from you once again. Follow him at VYKROMOND. You can see that on the stream right there. And if you want to bring me some feedback to let me know what I can improve on my play-by-play, it's been a while, but I'm at Blaze Casting. Anyways, any final words, man?
No, thanks for having me on, Blaze. It's always fun to get an opportunity to see some quality Dota and cast it with you.
Indeed. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. You guys have a good night.